Good afternoon, Gettysburg. I'm Bryce Bladen, and you're watching the Warrior Wire. Now, I know it's just myself. Sadly, Dan Stoner could not be with me, but that's fine. We're just going to continue anyway. We're really excited to be back with you guys because summer went super quick, by the way. At least to me it did. And yeah, so we have a lot of important stuff to give to you guys today, especially for the first episode. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, starting with Colin's This Week in History segment. Colin likes to go back into history's time in this past week and just talk about, what was going on and stuff. So let's go check that out.
On September 1st, 1939, the Second World War began. But 6 years later, after millions of deaths and 2 atomic bombs, it finally came to an end 74 years ago. On September 7th, 1945, the Japanese finally surrendered on the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay in Japan. Now the Missouri is docked at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, looking over her fallen sister, the USS Arizona, who began it all for the United States. I actually had the honor to visit both of these ships this summer, and it was breathtaking and gut-wrenching. September 3rd, 1783, the Treaty of Paris was signed and officially ending the American Revolution. The victors were the 13 original colonies, as they were given their freedom, and the French, who helped the United States win the victory. On September 4th, 1951, President Harry Truman makes the first transcontinental television broadcast. The broadcast was picked up by 87 stations in 47 cities. Truman talked about the success of rebuilding Japan and the willingness of the Japanese people. On September 5, 1836, the famous Sam Houston was elected President of Texas. He served in the War of 1812 and was appointed by the U.S. government to manage the removal of Indians from Tennessee. Earlier that year, in 1836, Houston led 800 Texans in a surprise attack against 1,500 Mexicans. Houston and his army were successful. When the Civil War broke out, Houston spoke out against secession against the Union, but failed. On September 6, 1901, President William McKinley was shot shaking hands in Buffalo, New York. He was shot twice in the chest at point-blank range. He was able to stand slightly on his toes before falling forward, and he said, "Be careful on how you tell my wife." After surgery, he seemed to be recovering until it worsened on September 12th, and he died 8 days later from gangrene that went undetected from an internal wound. Theodore Roosevelt became president. McKinley became the 3rd president to be assassinated. Thank you for watching. I'm Colin Arnold, and that's This Week in History.
Colin, once again, bringing on the history facts, especially in this past week. It's really important to know some of this stuff, especially since, like I said, it's a part of our history. Now we're going to jump into our next segment, which is the Warrior Walk-In. So let's go check that out.
Have you seen the latest store on campus? The Warrior Walk-In is a one-stop shop at Gettysburg Area High School. Stop by to see all the variety of items such as school supplies, shoes, new/slightly used dresses, casual, interview, and gym apparel. Toiletries and even a mini food pantry are available. Best thing yet, the Warrior Walk-In is open to all Gettysburg Area High School students. Look for the arrival of homecoming attire next week for both young men and women. If you are interested in visiting the store or to help with inventory and displays, sign up in art, or stop by to see Miss Withers, Miss Cann, your principals, or a counselor today.
All right, thank you, Dan, for showing us what Warrior Walk-In is. If you guys are ever in a bit of a pinch and you need some sort of supplies, such as school supplies, clothing, personal hygiene items, etc., make sure you check out the Warrior Walk-In. It's on the 2nd floor, I believe. Yeah, so going into our next segment, it's Did You Know? This segment is based upon facts about our school itself and PA as a whole state. So let's go look at that.
This ain't a song for the broken hearted. A silent prayer for faith departed. And I ain't gonna be just a face in the crowd. You're gonna hear my voice when I shout it out loud. It's my life, it's now or never. I ain't gonna live forever. I just wanna live my life. It's my life, my heart is like an open.
All right, very cool segment displaying some facts about PA and our school itself. Just very cool to see. All right, next, sports. This is probably the biggest segment on our show today. This past week has been like filled with a whole bunch of different sports scores, just games in general. Lots of ways to show your school spirit. So first, let's start out with a quick highlight reel of the boys varsity soccer at the Chambersburg soccer game. Let's go look at it.
All my life been hustling and tonight is my appraisal. Cause I'm a hooker selling songs and my pimp's a record label. This world is full of demon stocks and bonds and Bible traders. So I do the deed, get up and leave a climber and a sadist, yeah. Hey look ma, I made it. Hey look ma, I made it. Everything's coming up places, places. If it's a dream, don't wake me, don't wake me. I said, hey, look, I made it. Friends are happy for me, or they're honeysuckle phonies. And they celebrate my medals, or they wanna take my trophies. Some are loyal soldiers, while these other thorns are rosy. And if you never know who you can trust, then trust me, you'll be lonely. Oh, are you ready for the sequel? Ain't ready for the latest. In the garden of evil, I'm gonna be the greatest. In a golden cathedral, I'll be praying for the faithless. And if you lose, boo. Hey, look, ma, I made it. Hey, look, ma, I made it. Everything's coming up places, places. If it's a dream, don't wake me, don't wake me. I said, hey, look, ma, I made it, I made it. I said, hey, look, ma, I made it, I made it. I see it, I want it, I take it, take it. If it's a dream, don't wake me, don't wake me. I said, hey, look, ma, I made it. Mama, best believe it. Mama, best believe it. Think I must be dreaming, but awake and breathing. Mama, best believe it. Mama, best believe it. Think I must be dreaming. Hey, look, ma, I made it.
All right, that was a really cool video. We did end up losing against Chambersburg, but I do believe that the boys soccer will come back and regain their glory. So we have a lot of scores to read off here, so I'm gonna just try and go slow as I possibly can without using too much time. So on Tuesday, this is of last week, Chambersburg, the game was 2 weeks ago, but I decided to throw that in there because, yeah. Tuesday, the scores were: for soccer, boys varsity won 6-0 against Eastern York. Girls varsity soccer won 6-1 against Eastern York. On the tennis front, we have girls tennis won 5-0 against Delone. For field hockey, we have girls field hockey won against Littlestown 2-1. So overall, Tuesday looked like a really good day. Moving to Wednesday, tennis. Girls tennis won 4-1 against Littlestown. Thursday, soccer won. Boys varsity lost 3-2 against Susquehannock, and so did girls varsity. Same score against Susquehannock. Unfortunate, but I talked to boys varsity team. They have big plans coming up in the future. They really want to defeat Susquehannock. Girls field hockey won against Biglerville 2-1 in an overtime match, which is pretty cool. And then we have cross country. Yesterday, the Gettysburg boys cross country team won, defeating New Oxford, Spring Grove, Biglerville, and York Catholic. Andrew Herneisen took first, and he was followed by Gettysburg's Drew Cole, Colin Arnold, and Jacob Bordado. Gettysburg swept the first 4 places. Kelty Oster, Ann Bear, and Marin Christ all finished the girls' race in the top 3. So lots of important and really cool things going on the sports front, especially for our school. We're basically dominating the field. Pretty cool. So make sure tonight we have an upcoming game against Waynesboro. Varsity football will go against Waynesboro tonight at our own home stadium, and it is Splatterfest. Make sure you come out and show your school spirit. We hope to see as many Warriors there as possible. So as we wrap up the Warrior Wire today, I'll give you a little bit of weather over the weekend. On Saturday, it will be 81 degrees and partly cloudy, and on Sunday, it will be 79 degrees and partly cloudy. So pretty good weather. Thank you for tuning in the Warrior Wire today. Lots of important stuff, lots of sports scores, and hopefully we'll see you guys again next week. Have a good weekend. Go Warriors.